So, without further ado, I would like to, Cam, if you can unmute yourself, just tell us a little bit what are you going to talk about today? And then if there isn't any questions from the people, we can give this a start.
Yes, so we are going to be talking about mindset and progress today because I believe it's something that a lot of us have a misconstrued opinion about. So that's what we're going to be talking about. If anyone has any questions, let's get them out there. If not, let's jump in.
Okay, so if people have questions, keep on dropping them. I'm sure that Cam will be answering them as we go, and we can give the start to this session. Thank you very much for everyone for tuning in, and let's enjoy this. We have Craig recording too, so later we should, if he just doesn't bounce out, get you guys a copy. Someone just joined, Paran. Paran, we are starting the session with Cam Pereira. Okay.
Hi there.
And
Yeah.
okay, Cam, whenever you want. I'll mute myself.
Well, Craig, I hope you're on your best behavior. All right, so we're talking about progress today. Now, we all want progress. Oftentimes, we want big progress. And this is due to our instant gratification mindset. With the information overload that we have, like we've got Instagram, we've got Uber, like we can order a cab in 10 minutes. We can have food delivered to our door in less than 30 minutes. You know, these things, like even Amazon, like we can have some stuff to our door at 10 p.m. on the same day. Like that's crazy. But these things have programmed our mind to need things now. So, and then not only this, but also seeing people online, and we're seeing that exponential growth, not in just followers, but money, cars, you know, all of these different things are just being thrown at us from all directions. However, what we don't see is the time and the effort that goes into all of that, the journey. And that's what I'm here to talk about. If anyone's got any questions so far, just throw them in the group and I'll be answering them. But every single step of your journey is progress. And I mean every single one, especially if you have been thrown a curveball. Now, I know you may be thinking I'm a bit crazy, but without those moments of discomfort and difficulty, you wouldn't be the incredible person you are today. And anyone prove me wrong on that, I'm giving you 30 seconds. Anyone wants to join in, jump in, and prove me wrong on that.
We can't, Cam. There is no proving wrong. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've been thrown like a lot of curveballs in life. So let's say that like I'm completely not used to the idea of being thrown those curveballs, right? Completely new to it. Because I had my first major curveball, let's say like back in 2019, and it hit me like a train, right? Mm-hmm. And it was my first time ever experiencing something that basically turned like my life upside down. So for anyone who's maybe in that position of almost like experiencing that pivotal moment, how would you suggest they approach that situation? Like what's important? And like, yeah, just some insight on that would be amazing.
Yeah, that is a great question. Now, I've also had my pivotal moment, as most of you know. And what helped me was journaling. It wasn't, you know, dear diary, today I did this, today I did this. It was, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this? How do I want to be feeling? And what are the steps to getting me there? That's what I did to myself, or ask myself every single day. I kept at it, taking it one step at a time. Every single day was one step on my journey, and that led me to being here and talking to you amazing people. So my first thing would be to journal. Get in tune with your emotions. I say you need to journal not when you're having, like, obviously when you're having a bad time, but also when you're having a good time. Journal so you're ahead of your emotions. Does mental journaling count? That's a good question. And my simple answer is no. Because, and I'll tell you why. When you mental journal, you're just creating more and more mess in your head. And it's just becoming more and more complex. Noise, there you go. However, when you put that out on paper, it changes the whole thing. You have now created space between you and that thought, you and whatever it is, and then you're able to see the solution. So I hope that helps, Robbie.
That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing, Cam. Because that was pretty much like, so like I mentioned to you, like I never journaled when it initially happened. And to be honest, like it pretty much just like the process of getting over it and processing as well, just was, as you said, like noise rushing around in my head every single day for about 6 months until I finally started to get my shit together. The server can't cut out bad words over voice channel, by the way, guys. But like, yeah, like I had to really kind of like knuckle down on what I was doing and start doing like journaling and actually putting thoughts to paper because it was like a mental mess. So no, really appreciate that, Cam. Thank you.
Amazing. If anyone else has got any questions, throw them at me. If not, I will continue. Okay, so going back to this. Now, don't get me wrong, goals are great. I'm a huge advocate of setting goals that scare you. Like they need to really, really scare you. And that's the good thing. However, what I don't want you to do is put yourself down in believing you haven't progressed because a setback has happened. Because trust me, that setback has happened for you and not to you. I know you've heard me say this again and again and again, and I will not stop because I am such an advocate of that. Every single thing, especially when it's negative, has happened for you. Now, the journey is your progress. Every single step is your progress. Find success in every step because our huge goals are essentially an accumulation of every one step of the journey. So it's almost as if hitting that goal is just a bonus on top of everything that you learn along your way. Instead of focusing on, you know, I never got to I'm not going to get to this goal or whatever, focus on today. Because today is the best moment of your life. You need motivation to do it. You need to rethink. Love that, Nisha. So I'm going to tell you about a thing that happened to me last week, which I'm sure every single one of you has experienced at some point. So I was working with a client. This is for my agency, and it was getting a bit not heated, but you know, there was a lot of back and forth in the end, and I was getting really like quite stressed out. And just as I was about to send an idea, my Mac froze. And I know Robbie's probably laughing because he doesn't like Apple. I know he does. But my Mac froze and I had to reset and start all over again. However, what I did was I didn't, feel like this was a burden on me. What I said was, okay, if the Mac or if the PC or whatever it is has overloaded so much that it needs to start again and reset, then I need to do that myself. So what I did was I took some time out. I waited for the Mac to start up all over again. And the first thing that I showed my client after doing my breathing and, stepping away from my computer, they loved it straight away. So what I wanted to say is, you can either look at it as a burden, a setback, or you can look at it as an opportunity. So if I was to ask you, what was a major setback that you experienced last week? I'm sure all of you can come up with something. However, ask yourself, how did it benefit you? Because now looking back, for me, I look back on my computer freezing last week, and that benefited me in the sense that I was able to switch off. I was able to come back to it. See, when we ask questions like this, our brain goes into problem solver mode. They find the lesson within, because every single thing that is a setback to you is actually a lesson in disguise. You just have to be able to see it. Because, as I'm going to say, whatever happened exactly like it's supposed to happen. It wasn't there to burden you, but to help you grow and to teach you. Be compassionate with yourself, because you're doing incredible. Don't ever forget that. And before I open the stage to any questions, I want to leave you with this. Be only in competition with the person that you were yesterday. That is the key to consistent progress.
I love that, Cam. I'm just gonna jump on because that was so lovely. Uh, it's always about that, and it's about also, I think, never comparing yourself. We fall into these traps so much, just looking into what our neighbor is doing. And there is a quote that I really love. I think it's from Jay Shetty, and it's, "Hey, the grass is only greener wherever you water it. So if you water your own garden, hey, it's gonna be greener of your neighbor. Doesn't matter what your neighbor has. So it's not about looking at what other people are doing. It's about, hey, what are the things that I am doing today that take me one step closer to where I want to be? Take those steps and write them down and appreciate them and reward yourself for what you're doing. Don't look at what the neighbor is doing. Don't look at what your competition is doing. The only time that I talk about my competition, and I always avoid it, is to completely destroy them. Why? Because we've reached a point in which, hey, do we really need to talk about that? Never enter into talks about competition. Never, ever. Look, you guys can research competition, but why do you need to focus on what they're doing? This is only wasting your time. You could be doing things for your own self. So
Exactly.
I don't know what you think of that, but that's my point of view on this topic.
No, 100%. It actually, it's very, very, very similar to a quote that I put up on Instagram, which is, a flower does not think of competing to the flower next to it. It just blooms. It's not focusing on the competition. Whether that flower might be a little bit more yellow or a little bit more orange or whatever color flowers are. It's just focusing on itself and it blooms. And that's how you bloom. You put your blinders on. You don't look to your right or your left. You just look straight ahead and you keep going one step at a time.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what this is all about. It's about, why do you want to, look at your competition? Why do you want to look at what someone else is doing? If this, it's wasting your time, it's overwhelming you. And the one advice that I have for people is, things that overwhelm you, take a step back, as Cam said. Take a step back and just process and then work on the perspective. Actually ask yourself the question, what is the impact of what is happening? Like, is it actually that bad? I mean, is it actually like that bad, or can I just turn my Mac, my PC back on and continue with my work? If that is the question, hey, that's it. One of the things that I do, for example, in my sales calls that helps me is to never judge myself. Whether I am supposed to, close that persona, there's so many circumstances going on that I can never ever control. So why would I judge myself and say, "Oh wow, I didn't close that client, it must be my fault." It's never, ever my fault. Why? Because I have developed a system which, hey, let's look at what I might have done wrong. Okay, let's look at, how can I do better? But I'm never going to put myself onto and say, hey, it was my fault. That's it. And overwhelm myself. It's just not good for
Yes, 100%. Your self-talk is so important. Like, even when we're just like, oh, you're such an idiot, that actually gets ingrained into our mind. Um, you never ever need to talk about yourself like that. You should always talk about yourself like you are an absolute fucking champion. That's what you've got to talk to yourself like, because that's what you are. Every single one of you. When you're talking to yourself and saying you're an idiot, or you did this, you failed, etc., it just it creates this thing inside your head, and it develops and it develops and it grows, and it grows until it gets to a point where you're just like, you know what, I'm just not good enough. And when you get to that point, it's very, very difficult to get to the other side or back to the other side, because I've been there. I'm speaking from experience. What you tell yourself becomes a reality. Exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things, there is a book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he talks about exactly this. It's how people, he puts it into, he says it's almost like casting a spell on yourself, or people casting a spell on you when they say, "Hey, you are not smart enough, you are stupid, you are whatever they want to." And the problem with that is we might think, at the moment, hey, that doesn't, you know, but it's super important to actually never receive that information, to put a filter and say, okay, like, that's it. Okay, fine. Like, but don't get it inside. Okay. Don't accept that. So when people say, wow, you're such an idiot, you're so stupid, I mean, do you need to get that information in your head? Like, is it good for you? I don't think it is, and it's probably not objective. So why not just, pass on? Don't enter into discussions, and just say, okay, I don't take this information, I don't take this negativity, and I'm not going to perceive it as such. I just ignore it. Why? Because there is no place in my mind for this information. And the one thing that he mentions is, it is super hard to break some of the spells. If, for example, you like someone quite a lot and they turn to you and say, wow, you're so stupid, it actually has a higher effect than obviously just a random person reaching out and saying, "Well, you're so stupid. Okay, what's your argument?" So what that creates is, actually it's an internal, subconsciously it might affect you. So you might stay in there until someone comes and says, "Hey, you're so smart." And then that is what will break the spell that you got upon yourself. So that is the same reason why you should never, ever talk to yourself in that way. Because it just is like, oh my God, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you putting negative thoughts in your own mind? It's just, don't be so harsh to yourself.
Yes. I could not agree more. Suffering from poor connectivity. Will join you all tomorrow. Robbie, did you want to jump in?
Yeah. So just I was grabbing onto something really interesting that Alec just said, and that was that, you know, when somebody else says something negative about you, because I've actually experienced this, right? Where someone very, very close to me has said, "Oh my God, you're an idiot," right? I would love to know, how do you respond in that situation? Because I, of course, responded, but I would love to know, like, what your thoughts are, Cam, on what is the best way to approach that situation.
That is a great question. So for me, I've always been quite calm. So even when someone says something like that, I almost laugh it off. And I know that people say, like, you know, you need to kind of defend yourself in these situations, but sometimes it will become a waste of your time. There are people out there that you could argue with for 4 days and they still won't understand your point. And that's why, for me, the thing that's helped me is definitely just laughing it off. And the reminder that I say to myself is, we've all got the same 24 hours in the day. Every single person, Elon Musk, you know, what's his name? Bill Gates, you know, Robbie, Ria, Cam, we all have 24 hours in our day. If that is the way that that person chooses to use their 24 hours, then that's completely up to them. But I know that I want to use my 24 hours to help the world and to impact the world.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
love that, Cam.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with this. And what I would say is always always look at what is the actual purpose. I mean, what do you want to achieve? If you choose to argue with that person, what do you want to? Do you want to actually prove yourself? Because at the very end, if you know you're not stupid, you're not, whatever they have, uh, then why even entertain the idea of them possibly being right? Well, you can just say, hey, okay, that is your point of view, that is your opinion. I'm sure that, hey, there is outside a person everywhere, somewhere in the world, someone thinks that we're stupid about every single one of us. Now, is that the actual reality? I think not. So, at the end, what matters is what is the actual reality. And in most cases, hey guys, you're definitely and you guys are definitely, not doing a bad job, and you guys are definitely not supposed to be, doing more and being, hey, it's fine. uh and you should really put those filters on and not accept negativity in your life. That is what I really believe in, not accept.
Yeah, I really could not agree more. No, I'd love for Christina to come on stage. I feel like she is dropping some truth bombs. Christina?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you are dropping some truth. I would love for you to elaborate on some of the things that you've said, because I know that a lot of people are suffering from those situations.
Oh, thank you. Well, I wanted to say that we need to be our worst enemies. We are our worst enemies. We are self-critical. We deal with self-confidence issues, self-love issues, and that's fine because we can work on that. We have control of this worst enemy that we can be. We can't let anybody else take that space. because then we lose control. If all of us, we let our enemies take control of our emotions and our actions and our progress, then we lose because we lose control. As soon as we lose control, we lose. We can only allow us to be our worst enemy because then we can fight against it. We make progress, we journal, we self talk, we meditate, we work on ourselves. So we balance that stuff out. So don't let anybody else tell you anything. If that person is being shitty at you, they have an objective. They are projecting their own insecurities. They're projecting their own self doubt. They're projecting their own shittiness to you. That doesn't mean that you're stupid. That doesn't mean that you're not worth it. That doesn't mean that you're everything they're saying. It means that they are way less than you. The only person you can be in competition with is whomever you were with yesterday. Yesterday, you were a little less than today. Today, you are in a position where you have a better opportunity to be much better than yesterday, a little less than tomorrow, but work on it. So tomorrow, you can be better. Don't let anybody tell you you're not worth it, or that you're doing bad, or that you're stupid, because you're not. Ask your mom. Your mom will tell you you're not. You're the best thing ever.
Exactly. And that's how we should speak to ourselves. We should tell ourselves that we're the best thing ever because we are the most important person in our lives. No one on our journey has been through what we've been through. It's just us. And that is who we need to always remember to put first. Then we can serve others.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. And you guys, we're all here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
We're working on ourselves. Who else does that? Who else has the motivation to progress? Who else has the motivation to be visible and to grow our business and to be better people? Right? That's just 100%. You guys, we are all doing well. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Wow, that was just beautiful. You took us through a journey of emotions, Christina, because I feel like, we were first intrigued by what you had to say, but then you got us all, hooked inside with this powerful knowledge, and then you got me laughing even when you say, "Hey, ask your mama," and your mama always will tell you, "Hey, you are pretty, you're smart." Best person to ask.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Stupidity to even answer and to waste time.
That was brilliant, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're so right, Nisha.
Yeah.
What is a great thing to do when you're faced with that criticism is breathing out, breathing in and breathing out, taking a deep breath, because what you do is you change your response. You go from the emotional side of your brain to the rational side of your brain.
Love it. So, does anyone else have any questions for Cam or any of us on the chat right now? It has been, what we're looking at here, about 30 minutes now. So, any further questions, or should we call this a wrap? Let us know in the chat.
Well, Craig is still recording, so I'm very happy for him that he lasted this long in the conversation, didn't feel overwhelmed, and hey, he's always welcome to be that good with us. Huge love. Can I ask something out of topic? Yes, you can, Michelle. Ask.
Go for it.
When are we talking about branding and sales? So, guys, every single day has already been mapped out for this week. So, if you access to, the Wednesday text channel, you see what's going on Wednesday. So, for example, tomorrow Wednesday, we are talking about it's about having fun, but we're talking about craziest sales call. Okay, it's a day in the middle of the week to kind of, keep it fresh, to kind of keep it fun, to share, fun business stories, to share a bit, something that, will just, get the mood up. So tomorrow we are talking about the craziest sales call, the craziest sales objection, typical objections that even, students use. Oh my God, my goat ate my homework. Well, that actually, it happens sometimes in sales too. You get those weird objections. How do you handle that? How do you handle? Yeah, so we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to give up too much out of it, but tomorrow we start talking craziest sales calls. On Thursday we have, yes, of course, Param, you can ask a question first. Uh, on Thursday, we have Thank You Thursday. Thank You Thursday is for people to give back to the community whatever they wish, and they don't need to, they're not obliged, okay? But if you want to give something to the community, if you want to, for example, give away a 15-minute sales call, if you want to give, a free Instagram audit, if that's your thing, if you want to do branding, check up for free for someone in the community. It's not about, us promoting services or any of this. It's about the support that we give to the community. Okay. So that is on Thursday. Friday, we have follow up Friday. We're going to talk again about sales and branding and intelligent ways to follow up clients because it's super, super important. Saturday, we talk about our successes. Guess what? We jump on a call and we share our successes. We talk about what did we achieve, and we just, have a happy moment together. Uh, oh, Param, if you want to jump and ask it live, perfect, wonderful. I will mute myself right now.
Thank you so much. First of all, I really feel glad to be a part of the community here. And I mean,
Yes,
this
buddy,
is a
you're
place
on.
where I can speak out for this. Hello? Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So my question is, at times you already know some of these facts that, I mean, we are aware that we don't have to move on with the criticism and everything. I mean, you are aware that you have to overcome these challenges. But what we face is when we take three steps forward and I mean, like we make improvements and we plan to make three changes in our life, right? And we step back for two of these changes. I mean, let's say changing a complete schedule of a working day is not something that you can practically do in just one day. So we plan to take one step at a time, but making three steps forward and getting back two changes, that is something which is bothering me. I mean, at some point of time. And what would you suggest I mean, to overcome this challenge?
So you're saying when you've done something, you've gone 3 steps forward and then 1 step backwards. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, exactly. We were able to take three steps, but could only successfully go on with one of these steps, and two of those came back, and we need to work on it again.
Okay, well, first of all, we need to change the perspective and look at it as you did 1 step forward. That's an amazing thing. That's 1 step more than you would have done if you just didn't do anything.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, that makes sense.
So with that sense of going backwards, that is just in our heads. You haven't gone backwards. You're just, as I was speaking about in the first part, it's that kind of that instant gratification of wanting a specific thing now rather than working towards it. So what I would do is go back, evaluate, and see what steps you can take to then move forward the other way for the next 2 steps. Is that helpful? If not,
Yes,
let me know.
absolutely it is.
Yeah.
The one thing that you said in the beginning, we need to, I mean, somewhat track that we are actually moving positive, and that would itself be a motivation.
Yes, exactly that.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That is great. Thank you for answering his question. Great question, Pram. And yes, anyone has any extra questions? Anything that we can answer right now? If no, guys, hey, the conversation ends whenever you want. So that doesn't mean that we finish this and you guys can continue talking. That is why this channel is here for. So if anyone wants to, talk about something different, hey, we're on here. We are happy to, talk about that. Each one of us. And again, if you want to jump in, wonderful. Robbie, where are you at?
I'm here, man. So I pretty much think that we're calling this this conversation a wrap because questions are all out. So I mean, why don't we call this a day for this session? And as Alex said, people feel free to use all of the other channels if you want to just jump in there and have a conversation with people. Nishal, I know that you're super excited to get in and start talking about branding and sales. Keep an eye out because I will regularly be jumping into the branding channel and speaking with people, even if it's just for 5 minutes, answering a couple of questions here and there. So do look out for it. I'll ping you as well when I am in there, and we can all have a conversation and help you out. But thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.